everybody. This is Maria Angelova with Rebellious International, and on behalf of Authority Magazine, I am thrilled to have with me today the star of the show, Cooking with Omi, Omi Hopper. Welcome, Omi. So great to have you here.
Thank you, Maria. I'm very glad to be here.
Yes, welcome. And Omi, before I tell everybody what you do, I will let you tell us who you are, what you do, and share your story of who you are and what has brought you to where you are today.
Oh my gosh. So my name is Omi Hopper. I am the creator of Cooking Con Omi. And I started Cooking Con Omi in the middle of the pandemic. I started it just, as a mom that was going crazy over Zoom calls with all my boys. And I was cooking 3 meals a day, breakfast, lunch, and dinner, and sometimes more. And so I just wanted to find a way to connect with the people outside and feel like I was doing something productive. And so I wanted to share my authentic Puerto Rican dishes with the world.
And look where that has taken you. Where has it taken you, Omi?
Oh my goodness, here we are 2.5 years later, and we are now at almost 1 million followers across the board on all platforms. And so many exciting, collaborations that I've been a part of, and brand deals and interviews such as this. This is so exciting, and I'm so honored.
Oh, it's our pleasure to have you here. Absolute pleasure. So, Omi, what inspires you when you cook? What inspires you? What gets you going in the kitchen?
I've always been inspired by tradition. I've always been inspired by the women in my life. I grew up around Las Garcias. Las Garcias are my aunts, my mom, and my grandmother, the matriarch, who they're just amazing women in the kitchen. They love the kitchen. They're always dancing and having fun. And, I was always the little girl in the corner, just kind of peeking to see what they were doing. And being nosy, I wanted to know everything. And so they're my inspiration in the kitchen. I take after them, and I put on some music, I dance it all away, and I end up with a great meal every time.
I love that. Nothing like a meal and good music, right?
Yes, yes, you gotta dance. If you're not having fun in the kitchen, your food is not gonna taste as good, I promise.
Cooking with the soul, right?
That's right. Con lo que te diga tu corazón. I always say that. Every
Yeah.
time someone asks me for measurements, I'm like, wait. La cantidad que te diga tu corazón. Just throw in there as much as your heart's desires.
Oh, I don't know about that, Omi. Not all of us have that. Get each about what's the right amount.
I know.
Omi,
I gotta work on that.
Omi, what's a favorite recipe of yours? Something that you love to cook, something that, brings that tradition, that inspiration to you and those around you.
Yeah, but for that for me is arroz con gandules. A good arroz con gandules. I remember sitting down and peeling the pigeon peas with my grandfather from the tree. Like I remember my grandmother cutting the plantain leaf from the tree and placing it on top of the rice so the rice can have that beautiful aroma. And so that is a dish that brings me back home every time.
Yeah. Do your kids enjoy it?
Oh my goodness, my boys have at it every time. If they could have it their way, they would have McDonald's all the time, which that's not the case.
We have a mom who is a chef
But
and want to.
listen, it's overrated for them. It's overrated. Okay, mom. Okay, ma. They're
You're just mom,
but
right?
but when I cook and especially when it's a meal that they love, they have at it every time.
I love that. And speaking of family, you have a big family to feed like you have. So let's talk about managing a business, a successful business, and managing a family. How does that work? Give us some survival tips, some thriving tips rather than survival. How do you make it work, Omi?
I wish I could say that I make it work on my own, but I really don't. I have an amazing partner. I have a husband who is hands on and who has always been so supportive since day one. He's always told me he's always been my number one fan, even though I was never doing this. in anything that I've ever done in life. We've been together for 20 years, and in 20 years, he's always said he's always been my number one fan, and he's always stood by that.
Congrats on that. That's big.
Thank you. Thank
Yeah.
you.
So I guess that's a person who supports you, cheers you, inspires you.
Absolutely. He's the person that makes it happen for the world to be able to see Cooking Con Omi. And for me to be able to do what I do, you know, I the way that I balance it now is I have my set days for filming, my set days for editing, and everything else gets put on hold. My boys come first. You know, there's so much of their life that I felt like I missed out on when I before Cooking Con Omi, because I was a makeup artist for 10 years. I was a professional makeup artist for 10 years, and I was working two jobs and just all the back and forth and driving here and driving there, wedding here, wedding there. I never had the time to just sit and enjoy
That's right.
them in the time that is so fleeting. Time is so fleeting. So I'm very grateful for this opportunity.
Great. That is so awesome. So, Omi, you have been on this incredible journey, and it's only been a couple of years. Talk to us about the discomfort, the getting out of your comfort zone and stepping out of in a world that was very different than the one you knew before.
You know, it's interesting that you asked that because in the world of makeup, as a makeup artist, I was very reserved and I tried to kind of tame who I
Mm,
was because I was afraid that maybe that person or that client won't hire me if they truly know, you know, all of me, right? And in the kitchen has always been a place where I have truly felt like I could be myself. I call it I could have my señora vibes. You know, I feel like I take over my grandmother's spirit and I'm like, I'm just, you know, I'm an 85-year-old woman just whipping it up in the kitchen and I'm so happy and I'm so carefree that I I felt like Cooking con Omi gave me that opportunity to just be completely carefree. It also helped the fact that it's on my phone. I'm talking to my phone. Yes, I'm having, you know, all this interaction with everyone that's watching this video, but I'm not feeling like I'm talking to everyone. And it wasn't until recently I went to the Puerto Rican Day Parade in New York City on this past summer on 2022. And it was the first time that I encountered my viewers face to face, and the amount of gratitude and the amount of uh, impact that I had no idea, right? So now there's a weight to it, but I remain the same in the sense of I'm still being very carefree and I'm still able to share my recipe with love and care, knowing that they're watching and knowing that there's a responsibility now. So I don't know how to describe it. It feels great to be able to be myself and forget about the rest.
So I'm so glad you said that because that so correlates to the power of being authentic, being who you truly are. So when you say what has being authentic brought to you?
Being authentic has brought me a sense of peace that I didn't have before. It brought me a sense of being able to take something on that I would have never thought could have been a business, right? I was doing it for fun. Like if someone said to me, "I'm gonna pay you to do cooking videos," I would have laughed in their face and be like, "No way! Like, that's not that's not a thing." But now here I am. This is my bread and butter now. This is what I'm living off of, and it's amazing. And I'm so grateful for it.
Yeah, it's empowering, right?
It's very empowering, and not just for me, but for my community and for the people that I represent. That's where it really makes a difference. That's where it impacts a whole nother generation, right? I've always said Puerto Ricans are like confetti. We're sprinkled all over the world. And even though I don't only cook Puerto Rican food, but I know that that is what I represent. I am a Puerto Rican woman through and through, born and raised. And even though I'm in the diaspora, I'm in the United States now, that's what I grew up with, and that's what I want to teach my boys, and I want to continue the traditions and the culture and the dishes. I want to keep them alive for them. And in the process of doing that, I've done so for thousands of people now that I'm so connected to without even knowing it. Without even knowing it. I had this one father, and if I may, it's always stuck with me. He
Mhm.
said to me, he thanked me. This was very early on in Cooking Con Omi in my process. He said, "Thank you so much for that recipe. You are teaching me to cook the recipes that my wife used to cook for my boys before she passed away of cancer."
Mhm. Oh, wow.
And you never expect that. You don't expect to have that connection with people. And when that is a thing, oh my goodness, like it touches your soul, it touches your heart. It's no longer just a video. It's a purpose.
That's exactly what I was going to say. You're living authentically and on purpose. And speaking of purpose, you made me cry. How how do you what good do you think what you're doing is doing for the world? I mean, inspiring and bringing that Puerto Rican traditions to the people who live, whether in Puerto Rico or abroad. What's the movement that Omi sees out there through Cooking Con Omi?
You know, Puerto Rico has always been a beautiful island with beautiful people with a beautiful soul. And they have somehow gotten stuck, whether it's through government, whether it's through mentality, whether it's through just the processes of things. And I really want that my purpose gives them the vision and the mind that if I can do it, anybody can do it. We can all do it. Like it is imperative that Puerto Rico can stand on their own and that they won't need to depend on anybody but the people in that island, which is filled with so much talent.
Inspiration. Love it. And Omi, let's move to another exciting question. Any big projects you want to share with us?
Oh, yes! Yes! I can finally share. I can finally share. I am going to be on the second season of Next Level Chef on Fox with Chef
Woohoo!
Gordon Ramsey. I
Bravo,
am so
Omi, go!
excited. I'm so excited. I will be on Team Naisha. So you got to make sure to tune in this February 12th on Fox right after the Super Bowl. Immediately after the Super Bowl, we're going to be right on.
All
So
right. Congratulations. Congratulations. It's amazing what authenticity, where it can take you, right? And living our purpose.
100%, 100%. Every opportunity that has come my way, I have always treated it with so much respect and so much authenticity. I know that there are thousands of people that can cook way better than I can. I know that for a fact, but there must be something that I'm bringing to the table that is different, that I continue to have these opportunities, and I respect that so much. I continue to stay the course and continue to remember who I'm doing this for and what the purpose is.
And I told you before we started this interview that I watched your social media and I could see your spirit and your high vibes. And it was almost made me want to cook, and I don't like to cook. So if you can inspire somebody like me to want to try to cook, that's something. And speaking of that, tell us, Omi, if you had to give tips to successful entrepreneurs, successful professionals, what are the tips? What is your self-care routine? What keeps you grounded and what helps you keep those vibes high?
I've had some very deep lows. I lived some really deep lows in my life, and whether it was financially, emotionally, health wise, when it comes to your health, your doesn't matter how much money you have, doesn't matter, who your health is a priority and you have to take care of your health. If you don't take care of your health, nothing else is going to matter. There's not any amount of money that can buy your health. And so taking care of myself means having some time alone, means hydrating, means reading things that feed my soul, feed my mind, um, and really staying grounded and around the people that love you, truly love you. Find your tribe, find the people who are there for you no matter what. You know, that is how I self-care. That's how I take care of myself.
Self, self-care is key, right? For
Yeah,
living fully. And
absolutely.
if you had to give advice, what's your favorite quote or a piece of advice you'd give anybody out there who has a hobby, a passion, or something they want to do and they think, well, that's just silly?
There is nothing silly. If you truly love it and it truly brings you joy and it fulfills you every time and you would do it for free, then that should be what you should be doing. That should be what the lane you should be walking and doing it without fear. You jump. If you can jump without a parachute, jump. Somewhere along the way, you're going to find a parachute. Somewhere along the way, you're going to find somebody who's going to help you. I no longer keep things to myself. You never know where there's a walking angel right beside you who's willing to help. So I speak up. You know anybody that can possibly do X, Y, and Z? Gee, you know what? I actually do know somebody. You never know who your angel's gonna be. So speak up.
Clarity, right? I tell people be clear on what you want, and somehow, somebody, something is going to show up your way. How do
Absolutely.
you stay connected to your intuition, Omi?
My faith. My faith. I'm big on my faith. I was someone who I'm not an only child. I have a brother who's 11 years older than me, but I was raised as an only child because he didn't live with me. So I
Mm.
had to be by myself a lot as almost as an only child. And so my mom, she, I grew up in the church and I never really knew what it was like to know God for myself or have that experience that everyone always talks about this clarity. I never had that. I had to learn that on my own. And so now that I've kind of tapped into that, for me, it's what brings me peace and it's what gives me clarity and it's what brings me joy. It's a joy that can't be taken away. So
Joy that comes from the inside out.
that's right.
Such an inspirational interview. Thank you, Omi. For those listeners and readers who would like to follow you, what's the best place where they can find you and continue following your journey?
Yes, I am everywhere on every social media platform. You can find
That's
me
an easy one.
on TikTok, on Instagram, Facebook, YouTube, and Twitter as Cooking Con Omi. All across the board, Cooking Con Omi. I really can't wait to connect with you. I can't wait to see you. And I'm so excited for all the things to come. I I'm in awe.
Well, I am so grateful for your time. Thank you for the amazing interview, for the insight, for the inspiration. Wishing you continuous luck and can't wait to see you on TV.
Thank you, Maria. Thank you so much for this opportunity. This was awesome.
Absolutely. Thank you, Omi.
All right. Take care.